So I have an idea for a project. So I have this idea for an application in which you're able to track your progress throughout life, as well as helping you reaching whatever goals you have in your life. So in the application, you would be able to create routines for your life, as well as habits you want to implement. You would be able to set up long-term, short-term and intermediate-term goals, as well as being able to share those goals with other people so they can follow you and track your progress, as well as inviting other people to join you on your goals. So for instance, say you want to create a goal where you save up a certain amount of money to go on a vacation with your spouse, then you could create a shared goal with your spouse. Or maybe you want to start working out 3 times a week with a friend, then you could create a shared goal. You would also be able to journal your progress if you want to, and you could tie that journaling in with the progress you've made throughout the day. So you would have this timeline of your basically of your personal growth and development as a person. So that's what I'm gonna try and build.
Okay, so the first technology we're going to be using is Next.js, which is a super cool web framework for building full stack web applications. And what's cool about Next is that it includes a server, so you don't have to spin up your own. And it also allows you to decide if you want to use server-side rendering, client-side rendering, or if you want to statically generate your site. We're going to be communicating with our backend through a GraphQL API, which is a replacement for REST. We're going to want to be communicating with a database from our API, and that communication is gonna go through a library called Prisma.js. The neat thing about Prisma is that it gives you an abstraction for reading and writing to your database, so you never have to write SQL queries on your own. And to store all the data, we're going to be using a Postgres database. I'm also going to be using Typescript, and that's just a personal preference because I prefer Typescript over JavaScript. I'm also going to be using React Query to fetch data from the backend, and the reason I'm choosing to use React Query is because it allows you to cache the results from your request. So whenever a user hits a route which he or she has already visited, then he gets those results super fast because they already exist in a cache. To make the project a bit faster, I'm also going to be using something that's called GraphQL Code Generator. What GraphQL Code Generator can do is it can read your GraphQL schema and generate TypeScript files. So whenever you want to use your GraphQL schema in your project, you can just import those types from the generated file. For styling the application, I'm going to be using TailwindCSS, which is a library to make it super easy to style your code.
And of course I'm going to use a bunch of other technologies as well. These are just the technologies I've chosen to help me to create this application for now, and I might change some of them, but at the fundamental, this is what I'm starting with at least. So yeah, let's get coding. So I thought I should also mention that I'm gonna try to convince my teacher to let me use this project as my finals project, and that due date is in 87 days from now on the 25th of November. And of course I'm gonna continue working on this application even after that due date, but I think having a set deadline to reach a certain deliverable is something good, so that's what I'm setting myself up for anyway. So I have a set due date for the 25th of November, in which I need to have something which is decent at least.
Okay, so I've set up the project now. I've converted it to a TypeScript project, and if we visit the index page, all we're gonna see is a hello world. I've also added a super simple Prisma schema to include Prisma, as well as copying over 2 of my old clients there for when we want to fetch GraphQL requests later on, as well as the Prisma, which is the ORM, which I mentioned, as well as setting up the default a super simple GraphQL schema, and it only at the moment it only has a single query, which is called hello, and it's going to resolve the hello world. So if we were to go to API/GraphQL and then we were to query this, we're gonna get a response that says hello world. So this is the starting point of our application. I've also added Tailwind, and I think that's pretty much it.
So I think this is a good spot to end the video. We have created the basic structure of our application and we have something to continue building on. So thanks for watching and stay tuned.